Peter Parker is starting a new job as a teacher. It's his first day and he's great at getting these kids to care about science, except for some little shits who just want to get wasted. All of a sudden, a guy called Ezekiel turns up. He bumped into Peter recently and has pretty much the exact same powers, and has asked Peter, was it really just the radioactive spider that turned him into what he is? Ezekiel talks a little bit about totems, about people through the ages using animals for power. He did a similar thing that looks bloody painful, and that's how he got his powers. He makes a great point that everyone's fighting pretty much their evil versions. Super soldiers against super soldiers, gods against gods, mutants against mutants, and spiders against rhinos, vultures, lizards, scorpions and octopuses. Yes, that is the plural. It's the classic MCU villain problem. He also warns Peter about a guy called Morlun who hunts totemistic people and feeds on them. He's coming for Peter after a brief crossing of paths that sends Peter's spidey sense ballistic. He's currently getting fitted for a nice suit to make sure that he looks very nice while hunting. So Ezekiel has the same powers, but instead of using them for good, he did what most of us would and made a shitload of money. But nicely, he's used some of this money to build an adamantium-enforced bomb shelter that can hide Peter from Morlun until he gets bored or something. But Peter refuses because he doesn't back down from a fight, but he really should have, because later there's a big fire which he goes to help out at, and while rescuing people, he has his first taste of Morlun. Morlun apparently hits him harder than anyone has before, even the Hulk. Really though? He takes Peter's punches like they're nothing before punching him into a building, all without saying anything, until he tells Peter that he's funny, which is not news to him. So Spider-Man gives him everything he's got. It's a flurry of punches, kicks, smashing walls on his head, but the guy just doesn't give up, eventually chasing him up a wall. Morlun goes for a big fall from a roof, but Peter escapes. Morlun then needs to sap some energy from a bystander, and Spidey hates that. No civilians. He does pretty well smashing him into a car, but Morlun flips it back at him, picks him up and delivers a load of super quick punches to his ribs. So Peter's got no choice but to hide. He changes out of his costume, but it doesn't matter. Morlun's got his scent or something, I guess? And he takes him on in a bar, so back on with the costume again. He's got great power, great responsibility and a great left hook, sending Morlun crashing into the kitchen, which he then explodes. This burns off all of Morlun's clothes, so he asks his assistant, who has somehow followed him around very closely, to get some more, giving Peter a brief respite. He asks Ezekiel if he can use the bomb shelter, but Zeke says, sorry mate, it's too late and he can't help, or Morlun will try and eat him. So once Peter leaves, he finds Morlun is now chucking kids around to make Spidey fight him. What a dick. So he gives him what he wants. He lands some more punches, but he's really not making a dent. He's not giving up though, he's Peter Parker. Even a shitload of web fluid that can stop a 16-ton truck can't stop Morlun from breaking free, so Spidey's on the run again. Morlun tries the same trick now with a grown-up, and Peter smashes him with a lamppost, but he's still not doing anything. So Peter has to escape by webbing onto a car, and he's in a bad way. So he calls MJ, but he can't get through, and then he tells Aunt May he loves her on the phone. The man's saying his last goodbyes as he knows that this could be the end. You really see the willpower of Peter Parker throughout all of this. He's getting the shit kicked out of him every time, but he won't give up. Luckily, this time Morlun catches up to him though. Ezekiel joins him. They catch him off guard and finally draw some blood. Then the two Spider-Man go at him in a blur of agility and violence. But Morlun's good. And he catches Ezekiel, he drains him a bit, and then he falls into the water. This satisfies him, an amuse-bouche before the Spider-Man main course, and so he walks off. Peter can't find Ezekiel, but he does have some of Morlun's blood, so he takes it and does some science to it, figuring out that it's made up of lots of animal DNA. And then he heads to a nuclear power plant for the final showdown. Coming out, but not in that way. In the power plant, Peter is sciencing the hell out of some radioactive material, making something that he injects into himself that bloody hurts. So Morlun thinks it's a done deal. His next meal is all served up to him on a platter. But when he goes for a taste, he gets a shock. Peter's upped the radiation levels inside of him. He's not a pure totemistic animal person, whatever that means. He's also a child of the atom, like the X-Men. Which means that his punches are now really hurting Morlun. And after the beatdown Spidey's been getting, we are all enjoying how much he's putting the hurt on this bad guy. Just pummeling the dude into the ground until he starts begging for mercy. He's now reverting to some kind of insect form, and look, Peter should just kill him. Come on, he's an absolute baddie. But Peter's so gosh darn heroic that he's pausing. So out of nowhere, Dex, the little assistant whom Morlun has procure other superheroes for him to feed on and get him new clothes when he's naked and also wants to die, he turns up with a gun and does the job for us, and Morlun melts away. Everyone scarpers and Spidey catches up to Dex, and despite the fact that Morlun has hurt him a lot, Spidey says, get the fuck out of here or I'll hurt you more. So Dex heads off singing. Spider-Man is spent. He goes to visit Ezekiel, turns out he's still alive and he's going to be a hero or something. And then he heads home for a big poo and some well-earned rest, sleeping for about 14 hours before Aunt May pops round and sees the Spidey costume. Uh-oh. Spider-Man's life is going to change after this. Aunt May knows his secret. And was the radioactive spider really the only source of his powers? We'll see. Well, thanks for tuning in. Look out for more Spidey content in the future.
That man's an imposter. That man is the imposter.
And check out our other videos. Do the stuff, smash like, smash subscribe. And for now, I've been Danny Baker, this is 6 Degrees, and I'll see you later.